This is ZEISS Presents Full Exposure, the weekly resource for news, trends, and the people who influence the world of photography and cinematography. Hosted by veteran photographer and filmmaker Jim Kamp.
On our year-end episode of Full Exposure for 2018, we're joined by husband and wife filmmaking team Rachel and Richard Prendergast. For their first narrative film, the UK-based production team unearthed a tender real-life story set in America. Working with a tight budget, their home in East Anglia doubled for Kentucky. They cast their daughter in one of the lead roles, and for the co-star Sylvia, the car, searched for a British model that looked more like a boxy American one. Rachel and Richard joined us via Skype from Europe. We open with the official trailer from their lovely short, Sylvia.
To the person that gets this car, I just wanted to let you know what a special vehicle you've bought. This car holds a lot of special memories for me. Life happened in this car.
Where are we going?
Love, joy, and adventure was had in this car.
When is something going to work out?
Now that it's yours,
That man isn't very friendly.
please remember it isn't just a car.
You all right?
To me, it's so much more.
Hi, Rachel and Richard. Thank you very much for joining us. It's really a pleasure to meet you guys. After seeing the film, I am going to need some extra Kleenex the next time because it was really quite touching and moving, and I know you intended that. So,
Totally.
But tell me about the genesis of the story and how that came about.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having us.
Sure.
Story came about from clicking around online when I should have been working, the usual self-employed procrastination of just doing anything other than the work that you're meant to be doing. And I clicked onto this story, and it was this really beautiful story about a guy that finds a letter in a car, and it's from a woman who's left it there for him to find it. And it's pretty heartbreaking. I don't want to give away too many details because it will give away the end of the film, but that's how I stumbled upon the story.
Sort of a message in a bottle type of play on that in a way.
Yeah, modern twist
Yeah.
on message in a bottle.
And how did you envision this film would look as you saw it? I think as a filmmaker, you probably immediately saw it as a film. How did you envision the look of it?
The look of it. So I wanted to give it. So the true story is based in the Bible Belt in the US, and she's from Greenup, Kentucky.
Oh.
I'm gonna say. Yeah. And we knew that we didn't have the budget to shoot it in the US, so I wanted to at least give a nod to the original place that it's from. So we shot it in this really flat area within the UK, and even the car is based on a US car model. So I wanted to give it a retro sort of feel to it, and make it feel a little bit American. I don't really know if I've actually managed to achieve that, but that's what initially sort of popped into my head.
Where in the UK did you shoot?
We shot it in East Anglia, which is where we're from. There's just one particular area, which is called
Spalding.
Well, oh yeah, okay. So there's one spot that's called Spalding, which is actually in Lincolnshire, but the majority of it was shot in a place which is, it's called the Acle Strait, but I don't actually know if that's the real name for it. But that's,
yeah, it's between Norwich and Great Yarmouth. It's just very flat, open plains, and it sort of provided the perfect location.
Yeah, these sort of big wide vistas, and yeah.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it did have a sort of Midwest kind of look to it.
Yeah,
in terrain. Yeah,
that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit sunnier on the intro shots, but we live in England, so if you wait for the sun, you wait until 4 years from now. So.
Yeah.
What about selection of the car itself? One of the lead characters.
Yeah, so selection of the car. Do you want to explain?
Well, we wanted something, like we always think of these American cars like these big wagons, really boxy kind of family cars, and we had a few ideas of like an English style in this sort of car, and you looked for ages, didn't you? And we tried to get a few, and it was also trying to find something that was affordable and not in complete like a mess. And then you found it, I think the November before we started filming.
Yeah, kind of about a year ago.
Yeah. And I get a call, I found the car, and he sent me a picture, and it just has, you need to find a car with character, and the eye and the eyes, but the lights on this car just really had that sort of characterful face, because you do want to bring the character of the car alive in the film. And so you need it to aesthetically look like a car that you can relate to. And
the car itself is based on I think it is a Chevrolet, I think.
Mm-hmm. Was it an Opel?
It's an Opel, but I think
but it looks boxy, like an 80s kind of Chrysler or something like that. So I see that kind of American kind of vintage look to it. Yeah.
Really not normal for an English car.
Right, yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, that's the perfect mix between European and American.
It was lovely to drive as well. Really good car. We sadly had to sell it, didn't we?
We did sell it.
It didn't let us down once on the shoot, it just kept on going. It was brilliant.
That sounds like there's another story just to the story of the car that you used in the story about the car in the film, the story of the car after the film. That was the story about it's all cyclical.
Yeah.
So you had a story pretty much formulated, but how did you approach it from a visual point of view? How were you going to tell this visually?
Yeah, so visually I didn't want it to be too claustrophobic, which I think if you wanted to shoot it super cheap, all in one day, you could just get in the car and do it all handheld, but it would feel, really tight, claustrophobic. And I was really aware of that from speaking to other people who told us that we were going to experience challenges like you were. Yeah, maybe you want to explain that.
Well, we were just told by a lot of people that it was too ambitious actually to film something in a car, because to do it properly and to do it so that you don't feel so contained, it's very expensive and it's technically very difficult. But doing it in anything other than the car would just have defeated the point of the story, really. So
yeah, we were told a few times to maybe think about not doing it in a car, because it is so difficult and inherently expensive to shoot in a moving car.
Not shoot the car moving, or I'm not following you.
No,
how would you not shoot in the car?
There was people coming up with really unhelpful suggestions, changing it from being a car to a house, and I was like, no, that doesn't really work.
A mobile home, maybe. Caravan.
All sort of people trying to be helpful, just saying you're going to experience lots of problems, and us having to work out how we were going to do it without,
So talk to us about how you overcame those problems.
So a lot of people said, to shoot this at an industry standard, you should really be shooting it all on a low loader, and you should be shooting on entirely closed roads. And so we ignored all that advice and shot it mostly with the Flowcine black arm, either mounted to the car itself. So we put like a scaffold rig around the car and then had it mounted so it was shooting back at the car. And then we just had a wireless link up to another moving vehicle, and that was one way of getting around it. And then
is that type of a jib arm?
Yeah, it's just a cheap-ish. Ish, comparatively sort of speaking. Just like a stabilizer arm.
That you can raise and lower remotely.
Sorry?
You can raise and you can crane remotely?
No, you can't crane it. So the height of it is fixed, but you just put like a Ronin on it and just point it in the right direction. So it takes a little while to rig up, and you need to know exactly what shot you want to go for. But that kind of saved our asses.
So you had to plan that because you knew you were limited as far as camera movement.
Yeah. And then shooting inside the vehicle, we were just finding really quiet roads where it wasn't going to be too much of a problem. And, just get people in yellow vests at either end of the road and look official.
I think we did close a road once, didn't we? And it was at a cost, so we did pay for that one. But it was when we were doing some low loader stuff.
Yeah, like a cheap
low loader.
Cheap alternative to a low loader.
What shot or shots was that?
So it's the shot where I think I gave it to you in the intro scene. Let me just check it. It is the shot at 1:35 on the intro scene. And Maisie's telling, Maisie, our daughter, is telling Jolie, the actress, that Evie spilt her drink everywhere. So that was mounted onto a trailer. And then we got a few other shots sort of pointing in through windows from that trailer. And I think all the stuff actually where they're singing inside the vehicle, that's all on the back of a trailer.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it was kind of shot all over the place. Like that whole intro scene is shot over different days, actually over a couple of months, in completely different parts of the country.
Yeah.
So,
were you able to stay in your budget for this, for the stuff that you didn't anticipate and stuff that you wanted, your ideal things that you wanted to have, but then you had to dial things back because of budget? I mean, to go over.
Well, we didn't go bankrupt, so that's
Pardon
good. We didn't go bankrupt.
Oh, so. That's always good.
I just think we started it with the intention of doing it as cheap as we could do it. We were using all our own money, and we're lucky that we have a production company, and over the years we've invested in equipment that we were able to use. We weren't hiring equipment every day.
Right.
Things like the Flowcine black arm, we could have rented something similar, but for the amount of days that we ended up using it, we actually decided to invest in buying one, which was turned out to be a good investment because we would have far overspent on hiring it. But we've just been sort of lucky in that we've built up a fair amount of equipment as we've gone, and that kept those costs down because it also enabled us to go out filming pickup shots all over the place without having to worry about things. There were a few costs that crept in that we maybe hadn't anticipated, but most of those were actually in post, like with music rights and things like that. And trying to think of other costs that cropped up really.
Yeah, it's difficult with a short film to really put a budget on it because with with a feature or with a TV show or something, you can weigh up what your audience is and how much you're going to get on the return on your investment, and so you sort of work out a budget from that. But with a short film, it's never going to make any money. It's always going to cost money. I think you have to be really lucky to actually sell it. So it really was like we had an idea in our head, and it was about £8,000 that we really wanted to, that was our maximum, and we stayed within that, I think.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It looks great. It really looks great. I was going to ask you about what you shot on.
So we shot it on an original red MX sensor, so the original sort of red Epic, and the Epic W as well. So the 8K weapon sensor, and they mixed really well together, actually.
And lenses.
And the lenses, I feel bad right now because I didn't shoot on ZEISS. So we're brand agnostic, as we say here. So cool, that's good. Yeah, we shot on the Sony Primes. I think they're made by Cook, but I'm not actually sure. They're the 6 Sony. They have no name to them. They're just Sony Primes.
Well, we can look into that, but I have a feeling that there's a possibility that they're could be made by ZEISS, but because ZEISS and Sony have a pretty good, interesting but hard to define relationship.
Okay.
Well, there you go. That'll make you feel better.
Yeah. So, and they belong to us. They're sort of like a cheap, a budget prime lens, and the reviews were really good for those lenses.
What's their maximum T-stop?
2.
T2. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. They're just heavy. That's the only issue with them.
Yeah.
But in terms of they're sharp. They don't really have any particular beautiful aesthetic to them. They're just a very sort of standard workhorse kind of prime lens, but they are really heavy.
Was coloring, because they're sort of neutral, was coloring something in post that you paid specific attention to, one aspect or another? I mean, warmth or... So I definitely, before we made the film, I knew that I wanted to start off feeling sort of quite warm, happy, family trip, and then get colder throughout the film. Yeah. And I think we achieved that. And the image that those lenses gives you is just a really neutral starting point. So you can do what you want in craft your own palette.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What about audio in the car?
Audio, we had
an incredible sound recorder. He was brilliant. We actually had never met him before. We found him just putting out an advert for sound recorders for a short film. Spanish guy called Bly, and he was just brilliant. On day one, he wired up the car just so well. Hidden microphones all over the place, and he is some kind of bizarre contortionist. He was just there in amongst the action all the time, completely out of shot always, and he did all of the sound recordings throughout the whole film.
I mean, were they lavs, or because you don't really pick up any vibration, and they were well hidden, so I was wondering about that.
Yeah, he sort of had. To say that I was thankful to have him there is an understatement, because cinematography wise, I know what I want to do, but sound wise, I really had no idea. So I was quite panicky about that, and it actually took me a long time to find a sound person. I had so many people, sound guys, just saying it's not possible to do it in this time frame with just one guy. And then I spoke to Bly, and every question that you asked him, he's just like this Spanish guy, really relaxed. He's like, Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Just what you want to hear. That's all.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's what you want to hear. But then I was panicky. I was thinking, like, is he just saying no problem? and he doesn't actually understand what I'm asking. But
he was incredible.
First day on set, he had the whole car rigged up, lav mics hidden. I think
How many mics were in the car for like front and back?
There were
hidden ones under the steering wheel.
I think there was 4 4.416s, I think.
Yeah.
And then he had also lapel mics not on the girls in the back, but hidden to pick up like a closer sound to them. And then he had lapel mics on Gaynor and Jolie in the front as well.
Mm.
So. But he'd hidden them under the in the roof and on the chairs. He really was incredible, actually. I think it was just so nice that he came in, knew what he was doing, and it was never an issue. You know, nothing ever went wrong with the sound. And
yeah, we love you, Bly.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you at now? Are you in the midst of being in the festival circuit with the film?
Well, right now we're on holiday in Austria. We're in the snowy Alps at the moment.
But no, we finished in July and sort of toyed with the idea of whether we even enter film festivals or whether it just goes straight online. But we had a cast and crew sort of premiere where we invited as many sort of industry people as we can, just to get a really honest sort of opinion of it, because our mums and our friends all thought it was lovely, but they're always going to say that. So we got quite a positive response from that, and decided though from that we would just go to as many or apply to as many festivals as we could, and any that sort of was suitable. So I think we've applied for about 60, 70 maybe, and we've got into some and we've won at some, which has been lovely. But we are probably a quarter of the way through. We've got an entire year of it next year.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to just see. I mean, it's a bit of a game of numbers, really. Every time you get into something, you just feel ecstatic. But at the same time, every time you get rejected, you do doubt yourself and doubt the film. And I do just think it's a bit of a emotional roller coaster. But we just have to wait and see with it, really.
We're still waiting for that big, sort of elusive big festival,
Well, I guess you also have to consider the festivals that are more, short friendly would be, because so many are kind of feature based, so how do you discern which you go to, whether some have a mix of features and shorts, and how you make those decisions?
Mm.
Yeah, and there are definitely a lot out there now that are really set up for short film, and it's brilliant. And I think we've really gone for a mixture of different festivals we've applied to. I mean, the submission rates are ridiculous. The competition out there is phenomenal. So I think they're getting anything from 1,000 up to 15,000 submissions for a year. So you just have to wait and see, really. But we'll have to hope that I've sort of aimed for those that are shorts, like dedicated, and also those that fit our type of film. I think, there are a lot out there who actually are that wouldn't fit Sylvia. So I've sort of tried to cherry pick those that it would be of interest to. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, presuming you have nice success with your festival march in the coming year, where do you see this ending up? You said something about online. So what's a venue, because I'm very curious about this, and I've talked about this with other, we're going to have a show with the Jacob Burns Center in New York that is a fellowship program for young filmmakers, and it's a short program. It's not a feature fellowship program. Question is where those films end up that the students do. 50% may go to festivals, but still that doesn't mean they're going to end up on a venue. They might end up as some sort of vaguely branded content on the New York Times or Condé Nast or something like that. if they're docs. But for narrative shorts, where would you guys see your film ideally ending up?
Ooh,
assuming you win a lot of festivals. Let's assume that.
Okay.
It's a good assumption to make. Yeah.
So once we've won at least a couple of BAFTAs and maybe an Oscar, then we would I would like to see the film going out onto maybe BBC iPlayer.
One of the big streaming channels. I think that's kind of, that's always the dream, isn't it? Someone like Netflix, Amazon Prime, like BBC iPlayer, that someone like that picks it up and wants to show it. I mean,
I think it would be a shame if it just got lost on the internet. So putting it onto Vimeo is fine, but
it only goes so far. You get a staff, staff pick, and then what?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be amazing for it to even get a staff pick, because say it goes on to short of the week, which is an amazing, especially for this type of film. I think it would really suit short of the week. Hopefully, it would then pick up a staff pick. But the worst thing would be is if you just put it out online and it got 1,000 views and that was the end of it. So it would be great to get it onto like one of the streaming channels, like Netflix apparently are buying some short films now.
Right.
Amazon are doing some kind of distribution. I don't really know too much about it, but yeah, it would be great to get it onto the platform.
Well, I guess also might be, I don't know enough about it more than I know a lot less than you do, but I mean, it also would probably be good to be in a festival where it has that secret sauce where you have the content buyers there at those particular festivals, especially on the lookout for films like yours.
Yeah. You have the specific market festivals where there are, you have a lot of film festivals where there's no industry people there. It's just filmmakers. So then you have those that are dedicated more to those people who are doing exactly that, who are wanting to invest in the next short film or next features and things. So,
now, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it becomes like your child. You want it to do as well as it can do. You put in all that sort of like time and effort in building it up. So I think for the sake of the crew and everyone involved, you want it to do as well as it can. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk about children. I can just hear the eldest ones. Just
is there going to be a cameo? I was kind of hoping the kids would run in.
If you want to.
Do you want to meet Maisie?
Yeah, sure.
Let me go.
Sure, bring him in. Come on in, Maisie.
Don't be shy.
And here we're fortunate to have one of the stars of the film. I'm kind of feeling shy right now to actually be talking to a movie star. But hi, is your name Maisie? Hi, my name's Jim. How did you like working on the movie?
I liked it a lot.
What did you like about it?
When I was allowed to eat the lollipop.
But you mean you didn't like the ice cream?
Did you not?
Well, we
had so much.
You had about 10 of them, so you didn't seem to mind it too much. And what did you get for helping on the film?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Best paid actress ever.
Do you want to make more movies? It was fun. Did you ever feel like, this is so boring. Why is this taking so long?
No.
No? Really? What did your friends think when you told them you were going to be in a movie?
They were surprised.
Did they want your autograph?
No.
On the night that we screened it to everybody at BAFTA at the cinema.
I gave about 58 autographs.
58? Your hand must have been so tired. Well, you better get used to it, Maisie. Sounds like. Do you want to be in more of Mom and Dad's films?
Yeah.
Especially if there's sweets involved, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just did a Disney advert with us, didn't you? Yeah, we just
What?
put her into all the. We just did a Disney advert, and Maisie was in that as well, weren't you?
Oh, that's great. Are you in Maisie? Are you in plays in school or anything? Do you go?
No.
No. Do you want to?
But at the end of year 2, we're going to do a play, and we might do jokes about pirates because we've been learning about pirates in our term.
It's one to look out for.
Oh yeah. I can't quite picture you as a pilot. Oh, maybe now when you make that face, you kind of look like a pirate a little bit. It was really great seeing you. You were terrific in the movie. I can't wait to see you in your next movie. Did you like the car, by the way? You spent a lot of time in that car. What did you think of that car?
It's a red car, and I like red.
Oh, that's great. Oh,
Do you want to get
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Say bye, Jim.
okay.
Bye, Jim.
Bye, Maisie. Thanks for coming on. Can't wait to get your autograph.
Can you close the door? Can you close the door?
Oh, that was great. Well, I'm starstruck.
We'll send you an autograph.
Yeah.
Promise? Promise? Okay.
Yeah.
Autograph on the DVD. Okay.
That was quite embarrassing, actually, because I'd got her a few days before the premiere. I was trying to organise everything, and she was driving me crazy. And I said, right, listen, you need something. You need to practice your autograph because someone might ask you at the premiere, and you need to be ready. And I got about half an hour of peace and quiet while she was practicing. And then on the night, lo and behold, we were sort of fairly busy meeting people, chatting to people. I realised that everyone is being given a Sylvia postcard with Maisie written on the back. And Dennis, who is the singer of Dr. Hook, who we obviously used his song in the film, he was there. He made an appearance. It was amazing to have him there.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it was brilliant. And she went up to him and said, "Oh, do you want an autograph?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, thanks so much, Maisie." And he said, "Would you like one of mine?" She's like, "Yeah, no, thanks, bye." No idea.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was brilliant. So everyone went away with an autograph.
That was a great, by the way, just as we close up, that was a great plot invention. Was that at all part of, how did you get to that where you used the Dr. Hook song? That was not part of the original story, was it?
It was.
Yeah, it was. Oh. Yeah. So the car was Sylvia in the real story.
The car was Sylvia, and the letter that she's reading at the end is an edited version of her actual letter.
Wow.
So when she's talking about, the car's name Sylvia,
it's all true.
Yeah.
Wow.
What it was. Yeah.
That's
so it was
real.
kind of paramount that we get that song, and incredibly, they've just got so behind us with the film, and they've been an incredible support, haven't they? And having him along to the premiere was just amazing.
How difficult was it to actually, get in touch with him, and get the rights and get their participation or his participation?
Well, to start off with, it was really difficult. Like, I called Sony maybe 30 times and never got a response. And then Ben Hartley, who is actually the actor at the end of the film who's reading the letter, he came in as an exec producer and put a little bit of money into the film, but mostly just helped us pull everything together. And he's really well connected and has been
it's been amazing.
It's been a godsend to us putting the whole film together. He managed to get a contact at Sony, which then triggered the whole process to get the rights to it. And so it's actually a guy in New York who owns the rights to Dr. Hook, and Bobby.
Yeah, he's a full-on part of the crew
incredible,
nowadays.
So it's tracking that down,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Getting to the right person who actually owns the rights to it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a really cool backstory about that. That's great. Yeah, because it's so perfect. It really ties the film so beautifully together too.
Yeah.
And the piano music at the end is Ludovico Einaudi, who, again, we were like, didn't really want to use it because we knew we were going to have to pay for it, but we tried so hard to find other bits, but it just fits perfectly.
Yeah,
and we've just heard, that he doesn't actually allow his music to be on every single film, left, right and centre. So he or his manager would have actually watched it and given us the okay. So again, it's a huge nod to us of encouragement when these people are
That's
happy.
great. That is great. Because it does, it's a beautiful, it is very much ties it together as well at the end. Makes it very moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing that makes everyone cry, that music.
Yeah.
No kidding. It worked on me. And what's on the horizon for you guys next after you shop this?
Richard should really be in a cupboard now because he is about to start writing a feature.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just sort of plotting it out at the moment and sort of in the research phase.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some writing's been done on it, but still changing a lot of it because I'm sort of researching, trying to make sure that I'm factually correct on stuff at the moment.
Oh, cool. Sounds interesting. But obviously I'm not going to ask you any more about it right now.
Yeah.
I don't actually know too much about it. I don't have the idea solidified completely.
It
right
would
now.
Sound waffly, but no, he will be in a cave for the entirety of January.
Yeah, I'd like to have a first draft out by the end of January.
So you guys do not write together?
No.
It's not my forte.
Not yours, okay.
So yeah, Rach is.
I just like him to chivvy along with the writing, and then once it's all in place, then I can start organising stuff. That's my.
Yeah, Rach is the organised one. Don't ask me to organise anything.
Well, whatever. The team seems to be working well, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you for coming on. Hopefully, perhaps when you're coming through New York next time, we can meet and we can circle back and see how your new project is coming along. Maybe talk about some of your other work.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be great. Yeah, would love that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you
thanks
very
so
much for
having
having
us.
us.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for sharing that beautiful project with us. I wish you the best of luck in the festivals in the year ahead.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Please join us in 2019 with a great lineup of guests in store. Happy holidays from all of us at Full Exposure.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time for another edition of ZEISS Full Exposure. If you can't watch, you can always catch the audio-only version on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at ZEISS_Full Exposure or on the web at ZEISSFullExposure.com. And to learn more about the latest in ZEISS lenses, head to ZEISS.com.